thanks everybody for coming, and especially Manny and Renee, thank you for taking your time. I'm not sure everybody knows, but our planning group's been meeting, I don't know, you guys, what, like 8 months? Certainly going back to last fall. I think we started maybe in September or something like that. And we meet most Tuesdays, and Manny and Renee and Violet and Wendell Yellowbull and Roshi Grover and Michelle Engu Dobbs and myself. And sometimes we even get some work done in our planning meetings, but mostly we tell stories.
It's mainly Michelle. Michelle does that.
And we hear about the kids and the grandkids, and we hear about the horses and stuff. So it's great.
And the dogs. You can't forget the dogs.
And the dogs, yes.
Timmy and Bob.
So our intention today, and we realize everybody's busy and this is the middle of the day. Our intention today is for this to be very casual, very informal. We don't have a presentation. We're now just within about 4.5 weeks of the beginning of the retreat. So we want to have an opportunity for people to ask questions. If there's anything you're concerned about, and anything really is fair game. So like I said, we don't really have any particular agenda. And if we spend 10 or 15 minutes and nobody has any more questions, that's perfectly okay. If we use the whole hour, that's fine too. We do have some veterans here. Jens and Nancy were with me and others 2 years ago with Manny and Renee. And so there's some connections here. And there's a few other people that are not on this call today who may still come in, but who have been there before. Manny and Renee, Deanna Rico is registered to come, and Barbara Becker is too. So I think you guys both know both of them. So, so I think at the risk of nobody having any questions, maybe I'll just open it up. That's always the risk of a moderator, is that nobody's going to say anything. So please help me out here. If anybody has any questions, any concerns, anything you're not clear about, go ahead, just raise your hand and unmute. And John and Jean, you've got it up. Thank you so much for breaking the ice. I really appreciate that.
I always feel like, well, I'm not going to get a chance to ask my question. There's
Oh, boy.
so I guess it's not a worry. So a couple of little things. How many what is the total number of participants? I saw that. Yeah.
We are, as far as regular participants, we are at about 18 right now. I could probably tell you exactly 18 right now. And then between coordinators and staff and elders, we have another 11. So it's just shy of 30. And it's possible in the next week or two, we might have a couple more people sign up, but it's a nice, manageable group.
Yeah, wonderful. And another question I had was somewhere months ago in this, I thought I read something that there'll be opportunities to give gifts to the Native leaders, and that we would have some, guidance in that. And so I guess I'm wondering, should we have a certain amount of cash with us? We tend to not travel with a lot of cash, but is that appropriate, or is there some, gifting we can know about ahead of time? Or
a great question. And tell you what, let's do it this way. I will either myself or Jim will send an email to the group of the participants and give some guidance about this. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
I guess I have a question.
Please. Yeah. Thank you for just jumping in, Terry.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited to be joining this community. One is about just dress. particularly during any kind of ceremony that might be happening? Is it okay for men to wear shorts? It'd be not okay to wear shorts, that kind of issue.
You know what, and I can answer this, but I may ask Manny or Renee just to speak to this, because certainly during the ceremonies, I think it's going to be perhaps a little bit different. Or Renee, do you want to speak to that?
Go ahead.
Or Manny?
Yes, for the, so like when there's ceremony, usually you don't well, usually you don't bear a lot of skin. I don't know what ceremony that Ivan's gonna have for sure, but I know 2 years ago he did a woman's ceremony and a buffalo ceremony last summer, and both those ceremonies would require you to cover your legs,
Thank you.
whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're a man or a woman.
Mhm.
So preferably they like women to wear skirts, but if you're a person that's not comfortable wearing skirts, then you don't have to. But usually we have friends that they wear like their jeans on, but they put a skirt over it. So it's just it's just like a woman's thing to wear dresses during ceremony.
Could
Thanks,
I-
Renee.
Could I say, at the ceremony up at the medicine wheel, it's going to be cold. You're going
Yep.
to not
Yep.
wear shorts.
It'll be cool up there.
Yeah.
Even if it's July, because it's mountain range, it will probably, it was kind of breezy somewhat too with the coldness, so it's best to have like a windbreaker
Yeah.
or a sweater, because it fluctuates too. It'll be like breezy and kind of cool, and then the breeze will stop and then it'll get kind of warm. So it's like South Dakota weather. You don't like the weather, just wait 10 or 15 minutes and you might get what you like.
Jens and Renee, I'm glad you said that, because Terry, I think your question really, it's originally sounded more like, respectfully or appropriately for the ceremony. But as long as everybody's here, and especially those that don't live in the West, I just want to underscore what Renee and Jens both said. The medicine wheel is at 10,000 feet.
Mm.
And in the Bighorn Mountains, which is really part of the Rocky Mountains. And I live above 7,000 feet down south of this, down south of Manny and Renee in the Rockies. And it's beautiful out right now. It's probably 70 degrees. It's blue skies and sunny, but it could snow tomorrow. That can just happen. And so, not just the medicine wheel, but because it's so high, it could be 85 degrees, still sunny, and you're going to want a shade hat. You're going to want a long sleeve shirt so you don't get burned, and probably long pants, for the same reason. But at the same time, in your backpack, you're going to want, like Renee said, a weatherproof jacket of some sort, and maybe a warm sweater or something, because it's not out of the question that it could become 30 degrees up that high. Renee, when we're down in the valley, by the Bighorns, it's not so extreme that way. We're down in the trees a little bit more. And then when we're up around Hardin, when we're up in Montana, it's exposed, but it's not so high. Is that right, Renee?
Right.
Yeah.
When we go toward Crow Agency and the area like Hardin, that way, it's lower. It's
Greasy
not
grass.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that 10,000 altitude, but it is hilly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, sturdy shoes that you can walk around in. We're not, you're not doing any mountain climbing or anything like that, but a lot of folks on that dirt road up to the Medicine Wheel, I've forgotten, those of you who have been there, but what is it, maybe a half a mile at the most, something like that?
Yes.
But it's uphill and it's
Something like
dirt, it's a dirt road, so you want, lightweight hiking shoes or sturdy tennis shoes or something like that, yeah. Great question.
I guess I have another question. It sounds like some of us will be staying in hotels, some will be camping. And then we'll meet up at some place on whatever is assigned each day. Is that how that works?
Yes, and there really will be two, the two main centers where people will gather, and even if people are camping, we will gather at the Elk View Inn up in the Bighorns, and that's in the information packet. By the way, if anybody does not have the information packet, let us know and we'll make sure we send it to you. It's got a lot of information in it. Welcome, Jenna. Good to see you. So even if people are camping, that will be the place where we will gather to begin with on Sunday evening around dinner time. And then up in Hardin, it's at the Homestead Inn and Suites. And looks like people are getting dropped off maybe and having to come back in. I know there's camping at the Elk View Inn right on the property, so I'm not sure who all's camping, but hopefully folks are close by if they're doing that. So yeah, good question though. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Well, while you're thinking of questions, maybe I'll ask you a question. Is everybody feeling pretty squared away on travel, on getting there? Most of the folks I've talked to are flying into Billings, if you fly. There are some folks flying into Denver and driving up. There are at least one person who's not on the call who lives in Taos and will take 2 days to drive up from Taos, New Mexico. But anybody having any issues with getting flights? Carolyn, you've got your hand up? Hi.
Hi, yeah, we're driving from Seattle, Genjo and me, and we have an electric car.
Ah,
So I made an inquiry and we're staying in the motels, the 2 different motels. And I made an inquiry, I believe, at the Elk View Inn and asked about charging options, and they said there were none. It sounds like that we'll have to charge in Billings, and we may have to, go over there at some point during the retreat and charge up and then come back.
oh, I see,
And-
yeah.
And I don't know if anybody on the call has any advice for us around charging other than Billings. I understand from the motel registration folks that Cheyenne is an option as well, but it sounds like Billings is more practical. Any advice on that would be helpful.
Well, Jens has got his hand, but just Carolyn, and I'm so glad you're on the call. Take a look at a map. Cheyenne is way down south.
Mhm.
Cheyenne is practically Colorado, so that's not an option. But I would think Sheridan or Billings or one of those out on I-25. Jens, did you have something to help with that?
What I was going to say is that we also have, we're not coming out in an electric car, but we do that. One of the other things is that if you can get there and then away from there at the end, we'd be happy to take you to each of the places as to each day to take you to where we're going to have the workshop, not, so that you don't have to figure of driving every day. You just have to get there and you have to get home, rather than having to worry about your transportation during it. And either with us or some of the other people. In fact, we'll all be sharing rides to hold down the amount of cars on the road.
Yes, okay, that would be helpful to carpool during the day at the retreat. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Jens, thank you so much for that. And Carolyn, again, and by the way, say hello to Gendro Roshi for me if you would. But stare at a map a bit. So essentially, to get up to Elkview Inn, you're going to be going west of I-25 by, I don't know, Manny and Renee, Jens and Nancy, maybe like an hour west of I-25. So that's maybe 60 miles, something like that on your car. But then you've got to get back too. So I think Jens's offer is a good one. And if you can avoid having to drive around during those 4 days when we're up there, that'll be good. But the places you're going to find charging stations, I think are going to be along I-25 someplace. And I'm not very smart about how you find those things. So.
Well, we know how to find them. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. And I probably didn't mean Cheyenne. I probably meant Sheridan. But in any event, we'll figure it out, and then hopefully we can carpool at the event.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Sheridan is really, it's not close, but what is it, like maybe 40 minutes from the Bighorn Mountain? Jeff?
Yeah, maybe something like that, Renee.
Yeah, because it's not way far away, is it, Manny? It's not that, it's in, but it's not close either.
Yeah, I'd have to pull up a map.
You got the winding mountain roads that always puts extra minutes on.
Yeah, and it's elevation gain too, Renee. So, Jan, you have your hand up. Thanks.
Hi, can you hear me?
Real well.
Oh, good, perfect, because the sound keeps going on and off for me. I have some real practical questions. One, I'm driving from California, so if anybody has, I've never done this, so if anybody has any suggestions of routes or places to stop, I'll probably take a few days to get there. That would be terrific. Also, should we bring cushions or chairs to use during the day or at any time?
That's a great idea. And if maybe let me answer them as you go.
Okay.
If you're driving and you don't have to get on an airplane with it, yes, I'd bring a lawn chair and a cushion if you can. We do a lot of sitting in a circle and talking, and having a lawn chair is wonderful. Yeah.
Would it be helpful to bring extra chairs for people that I can just put in my car?
I imagine you'd make some friends that way.
And I'm also happy to drive. So, I have a Prius, so I get low miles, as long as there's enough clearance for the car. I've run into some problems with that because it's a low car.
Yeah, you're not off-road anywhere. And Jan, where are you coming from in California?
The San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, yeah.
So if there's anyone who wants to join me on the drive, they can let me know.
Yeah,
Our daughter Claudia is at UC Berkeley.
Hey,
And-
nice town. That's where I live.
And if we knew you were coming, shoot, would have saved us a airline ticket for her. 'Cause
Oh. Well, if she
She's-
wants to come back for a visit, let me know.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's booked July 6th to come back. That's the Thursday before the retreat.
Yeah, I think, well, I was leaving, let's see. I was planning to leave maybe the 5th.
Wow.
I didn't know how long that was going to be. I don't know whether she can cancel her ticket or not, but
I could ask and see if it's reimbursable, because sometimes she buys her tickets like that.
yeah, well, you can, I don't know how to connect with me, but I'm going to be driving. And so.
Okay. I'll
if
check
you
with
ever
her.
make that drive and you have ideas, let me know. I haven't like mapped it out or anything yet, so
Oh, okay.
I'd be.
Jan, you know this route as well or better than I do, but you're probably Interstate 80 all the way across. So it's what, a little over 2 hours to Reno. It's 500 miles to Salt Lake City. It's another 500 miles roughly to Cheyenne. And then you take a left on I-25 and just go north. And, so there's only one stoplight.
Remember mountain?
Yeah, we drove out to UC Berkeley last July. When the retreat was done, we piled in her car and we drove, took us a couple of days, but we made it.
That's great.
And we caught COVID too on the way, so. We had COVID in San Francisco or in Berkeley.
Huh.
But we made it.
Jan, did you have more? You're muted right now, but did you have other questions?
Yes, just another very practical question about lunch. Do we bring our own lunch? Are we responsible for taking care of our own lunch? What is the deal with that?
Everyone's responsible for their own lunch, but I don't know how it was last year, Manny and Renee, but 2 years ago, and Jens and Nancy remember too, at each of the two places we stayed, we could arrange lunch, arrange to get lunch at the breakfast place. And then we could just take it with us. I think that'll be possible at Elkview. What did I say about Homestead? Because I set all these up, free breakfast buffet. I'm not sure if Homestead can do that, but someplace in Hardin, everybody will be in the same boat. So we'll be having to figure out, someplace to grab lunch and so forth. Manny and Renee, I don't know if you have anything to add to that about food. I'm glad you asked about food. That's always the first thing on my mind.
Yeah, when we stayed at the Bear Lodge, and I don't know where it's at in relation to the Elkview Lodge, but remember the Bear Lodge, they just made up lunches for X amount of people. And then people, when they picked up their lunch, stack lunch, they usually just pay for it, right? With the restaurant.
Right.
Because it's the restaurant that prepared the sack lunches.
Yep.
Great, I can cross that off my list.
But I don't know.
Forget lunch.
I don't know if Elkview can do that. They should be able to, don't you think, Jeff?
When I talked to her, I forgot what her name was. When I talked to Heather, I believe she's stack lunches it's right there in my notes. Stack lunches are available for purchase. So yes.
Lodge is different.
You can do that.
Good.
How far is that Elkview from the Bear Lodge?
Renee, I think we drove past it every day. I think it's just down the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the address is Dayton. So, there really isn't much of a town of Dayton. I think that whole area is kind of called Dayton, but it's right on the Highway 14 where we went back and forth all the time. So I think it's just down the road.
All righty.
Jan, was that all your questions?
Yep, I think so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Jessica, you had your hand up. Thanks.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm really looking forward to meeting you all in, a little bit over 30 days is just amazing. I'm coming in from New York. I haven't finalized my travel arrangements yet. Although I've been looking at it, turns out there's no Amtrak train that goes to Wyoming.
That's
So,
right.
You learn things. You're like, oh, Amtrak goes like this. Whoa, above and below. So full disclosure, working on that. And I guess I had a question. I just got the packet. And so my first question was about transportation throughout the day. The day is going from space to space. So what I'm hearing is that we'll need to travel ourselves to get places, and maybe people will carpool. And I noticed that there was a chat going on the Hive about people who maybe had this or that to share. Is that correct? Am I sort of like make a connection for yourself?
That is correct. And, you know, obviously a few ways to deal with that. You can rent a car wherever you fly into, but, you know, much more efficient and certainly less costly to hook up with somebody who will be driving. And the chat in the Hive is one place to do that. But
Yeah.
Jim already also set up the WhatsApp group too. And I encourage everybody to join the WhatsApp. What I found was when we were up there, I'm not technical, so I couldn't tell you why this is the case, but the WhatsApp signal managed to come through when other stuff didn't. Like when emails wouldn't come through to my phone, WhatsApp did. And it's, you know, somebody smarter than me could probably tell me why that is the case. But I would encourage everybody to join that group. It's really nice and simple. And if you've never used it before, you'll find yourself using it with your family and your friends soon too. So, but you can, Jessica, you can kind of, you know, ask about, you know, ride sharing there. That's a good place to do it.
Great. That's what I'm going to do.
I imagine everyone's wondering, am I part of that group? I actually haven't created that yet. So I will this week and invite everybody to join. So it'll be active very soon.
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun.
That's all right. It's on my list.
That's great.
I have another question then. That's okay.
Let's go. I'll come to you next, Terry, but Leslie raised her yellow hand. So Leslie,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
see it. Sorry.
It's okay, no worries.
Hello, everyone. I'm talking to you from Amsterdam. So it's the wonder of Zoom. So I'm so grateful about the food discussion because it was much concerning. So from then on, we just have to sort of find a way to feed ourselves for dinner. That's correct? Okay. My other question is, what is the nature of our preparation for this retreat? Obviously, there's reading, there's reflection, but is there anything else that we need to consider so that we're prepared in some way for this retreat?
That's a really wonderful question. And Manny or Renee, do you have anything you could share about, you know?
Ask her about the flags. Remember, Jeff sent it up.
Oh, Jeff, did you send out the email regarding tobacco ties and flags?
The cloth.
Did you send that email out?
We did, and Leslie just put 2 thumbs up indicating that she got that. So that's preparing supplies.
Yeah, that's the as long as you have material and all that information is on that email, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. I think Violet helped make that, right?
Yes, that was
Okay.
that was text that Violet had to do with. Yes.
Okay, then if Ivan logs on this later today, we could double check with him to see if there's anything that he would require. But usually, you know, if you this is just a normal protocol. If you want like specific prayers or, you know, then you talk to Ivan. But when you talk to Ivan, it's protocol. You him, which means you give him like a pack of cigarettes or a bugler, you know, that it's just mainly tobacco.
Yep.
That's usually what you offer when you're going to ask someone to like make special prayer for you or your family members or your friend. That's just a normal protocol if you're going to ask for special prayers in a ceremony. And but I think, is that in that email too, Jeff? Do you know?
I don't. I'm not sure how specific we got about tobacco. We did, as it relates to making the the tobacco, you know, the tobacco ties.
I will
There
add that.
Material and thread and ceremonial tobacco or organic tobacco. And there's a list of readings, but I guess, you know, I'm just approaching this from like a sort of Buddhist retreat. And I don't really understand how this retreat goes. And so I'm just asking if there's something more that I need to do in order just to be present.
So I don't really know Buddhist practice. I do know Lakota protocol. So yeah, that's what I know about. If you want specific prayers that you would want Ivan to or Violet to make prayers for you or for someone, then that's how you do it. You offer him tobacco, and then you ask him about it, and then sometimes they'll tell you, like, if you want healing for someone, sometimes they'll tell you like how many tobacco ties or how many flags to make. It can get specific, but usually when you're going to do that, so this is just like Lakota protocol regarding ceremony. If you want specific prayers for someone or yourself, you usually just give like a tobacco offering, whether it's cigarettes or just like, you know, buglers or what was the other one? That Arthur, is it?
I can't remember.
Anyway, there's you know, there's a can of tobacco sometimes. I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's
There's
King
Top,
Arthur.
Top and Redman. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wait, no, Redman, isn't that Chew?
might be, yeah, might be.
Not that. That's not what we're referring to. Not tobacco, chewing tobacco.
But
We're
loose
just talking
loose tobacco, yeah.
Like the red top, or what do you say, the top? Red, is it red top or?
Yeah, Top and Bugler, I think are the two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Top and Bugler. So I know that much, and then like as far as like Buddha protocol, I don't know much about that part.
yeah,
So
I wouldn't worry about that too much. And I think Leslie, I think just coming in stillness and with an open mind is probably the best advice. Wouldn't you say, Renee and Manny? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that not knowing, that's really a good thing, because we kind of used that when we went to Birkenau, Auschwitz, Birkenau, and not knowing was a really safe way for us to be there at that time.
Yeah.
Because it's an indescribable thing to go there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what I processed about it. So,
Thanks, Renee.
Yep.
Thank you, Renee.
mhm.
Leslie, does that help? Is that good?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
John and Jean, you have your electronic hand again?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I had a little bit more exchange with Chloe about the tobacco because I didn't know how much. And she said, I don't think this was in the general email. I think she said 1.5 ounces is about the amount to do the
More about that.
the tobacco bundles. I wonder if Manny and Renee, you would
Oh,
amend that.
yeah.
A full, that's like that.
It's a pretty,
Me-
we got
me-
American Spirit.
Yeah, I work.
American Spirit, yeah. So is she talking about when you make flags?
When you make the little bundles, yeah.
Yeah,
The flag, like, around like tobacco, about that size. Can you see my hand?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's how usually the flags, if you make flags, that's how much you use for that. But the tobacco ties, those are those little ones. And you just need like a pinch of tobacco to make the tobacco ties.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's a lot smaller if you're making for each little tiny tobacco tie. It's a lot smaller than an ounce. The ounce is probably, she's referring to the flags.
yes.
Yeah,
And Renee, you'd say what goes into the prayer flags is probably somewhere between the size of a golf ball and a tennis ball. Something like that, right?
in
It's
the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Contact.
about like
So
that.
an ounce is like this much in a sandwich bag. That's what I'm going by. You know, the ounces that we used to buy with marijuana.
You know that.
Oh.
Back in the
But
day.
this was this was back in the 70s, so you know, we
Yeah,
don't
we
do
were
that
there.
no more.
I believe I read about
But
that. Yeah,
Right.
good. Does that
a
help?
frame of
Well,
reference, that was
so-
reference, sorry.
No, that's okay. But this little package. So what I'm asking is that little package, which is actually really expensive, should be enough for the little bundles for one person. For the tobacco ties.
Yeah,
Mm.
Okay.
depending on how many tobacco ties you're making, but yeah, sometimes they say like 7 red, 7 white, 7 black, 7 yellow,
Uh-huh.
and that would be enough for something like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And should we bring a scissors if we can? Are we cutting? We should. That should be on the list, right? Bring scissors.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then also
Reactions.
I think I heard someone mention thread, but it's not really thread, it's more like string, kite string, you know. Maybe not, it don't need to be that
Strong
strong, but yeah, sometimes like the size of a kite thread
Okay.
or kite
Something
string,
strong.
it has to be a little bit stronger,
That again,
because it's gonna be out in the elements for a while.
the raise hand is the bottom.
If they ask you to place it like on a cherry tree or up at Medicine Wheel, they have a fence like all the way around, so they might want you to tie it to that fence. So in order for those little ties to hang in there, it'd be best to use kind of like kite string, a little bit thicker than a regular thread.
Yeah.
Mm,
Great. Thank you.
I just put a picture of a 1.4 ounce packet of American Spirit loose tobacco in the chat, just to kind of give you an idea of what that is. And I'm not a smoker, so I have no idea what that costs. You know, could be $8 or $10. I really have no idea. But
yeah,
But-
they're
It was
expensive now.
28. It's $28 where we are.
oh my,
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Holy smokes.
That's why I'm being sort of picky about this. Is like, whoa, how many of these babies do we need? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
I want to call I want to call on Jens and Nancy, but I don't want to let it go by without us noticing that Renee just said, "Holy smokes."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, you know, as the expression goes, you can't write this stuff.
Yeah, that wasn't a pun at all. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Renee. You made my morning. You made my morning. Jens and Nancy, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that I haven't actually read the email that you sent out, Jeff. I saw that it was, and I thought I'll read it later. But what we've done in the past is made, needed that golf ball size for 4 times, for 4 directions. So I don't, I don't know if that helps people to figure out, but it's gonna be 4 times. And
Yeah.
sometimes some people may want to do more prayer flags than just, I don't know how it's gonna unfold in terms of where we are and what we're gonna be doing, but what we've usually done a couple of different things is that we've gotten tobacco locally from our either in Western New York or we're planning to go up to Union Springs, New York, where there's a Gaya Kahono Haudenosaunee place that we can get tobacco from them. So
Thanks for that, Nancy. Thank you. I hope this is helping everybody. This, one more reminder, this might seem so obvious and it's on the list, but I'll say it again, water bottle, water bottle, water bottle, water bottle. It's dry and you're at elevation and it's windy and it can be hot. So, yeah, maybe even bring a couple.
Sunscreen's very helpful too.
Yeah, yes.
Sunscreen. And also stuff for like insect bites, insect repellent. Because not so high up the altitude you have to worry, but down lower it's mosquitoes. And horseflies and gnats and chiggers. Yeah. Those kind of little annoying insects.
We got all that.
Yep.
Anyone else? Everybody's squared away with your lodging, I presume, either camping or you have your Elk View or your homestead set up or plan to do so soon.
Jeff,
Yes.
just wanted to check, is Robert Ertman coming on the retreat yet?
He is.
Okay, I'm supposed to be riding with him and I was hoping to meet him today. I just wanted to make sure he's still coming.
I'm just looking to see. Yes. He's still registered. So,
Okay, I'll give him a call. I just wanted to check. Thank you.
okay, that's good. Carolyn, I see you have your hand up again.
Yeah, so I'm disabled. I walk with walking sticks and slowly and somewhat unevenly. Sometimes I need help. It sounds like dirt roads I could probably do. I'm a little worried about what you said about the medicine wheel ceremony being a half a mile up a hill at 10,000 feet. That's going to take me a good long while to get up. I can probably do it, but anyway, I just wonder in general, just setting the medicine wheel ceremony aside for a moment, but in general, if I'm going to be on surfaces that work for me and have the time that I need to get from place to place.
Carolyn,
Yeah.
we drove up there. There's that road that people walk up there on. It's a road for vehicles too. So it's a dirt road,
All the way to the top.
but it goes all the way to the top. So we actually drove up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like an option for that day. Yeah. What
Yes.
about otherwise? Maybe Jeff, you might have.
There's
Otherwise-
sidewalk.
Go ahead, Renee. I'm sorry.
Walk.
Excuse me,
Oh, sorry. Yes, please.
there's sidewalks up there too, Caroline.
There's what?
Sidewalks.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
That,
There's sidewalks over to the medicine wheel and there's
Mhm.
sidewalk. there's places you can go that, I mean, they're open up, they're, regular country. And there's a lot of rocks up there, little rocks, but then they do have sidewalks to the restrooms. And they have a sidewalk over to the medicine wheel too.
Great, thank you.
And,
Okay.
and Carolyn and Renee or Manny, correct me if I'm wrong here, but what I remember 2 years ago was most of the rest of the places that we went, we didn't walk more than maybe 100 feet. And we would park the car
Mhm.
and then walk like across the street or across the highway or,
Yeah.
when we went to that lake park, again, maybe we walked 100 feet or something like that. And then there were picnic tables and places to sit under the trees.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I think you'll be okay, Carolyn.
Sounds
Right.
good. Thank you.
Jens and Nancy, you guys had your hand up earlier, but did your comment get made?
I just wanted to say, yeah, that I also have difficulty walking and getting old, so. And I've had no trouble last time, so I think you'll be in good shape, Carolyn. And we go as a community.
mhm,
That probably is the other thing that we shouldn't all forget here, is that we go as a community. And so we'll all get there. We'll all take care of each other.
Right, and the ceremony or the day won't start until everybody's there, so.
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big thing for us. Usually, like any gathering we have, we don't start until we feel everyone that needs to be there is there. So you don't have to worry, Caroline, because if you know that you're planning to be there, but you're not there yet, then we'll wait as long as we need to, right? Usually that's how it goes.
Thanks, Renee. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anyone else here? We have just a few more minutes, but we can take another comment or a question. Looks like there are none. So thank you all for being here today. You not only helped answer your questions for yourself, but for those folks that weren't able to be here, we recorded this. So we'll be able to share your question and the answers with those folks who weren't here. And there will be a little bit more communication here in the next few weeks. And we'll try to get more specific about gifts and tobacco ties and things like that, and make sure that everybody has everything. But in the meantime, feel free to reach out if you have something occurs to you afterwards. Feel free to send me or Jim an email, and we'll respond to you right away. So, okay, everybody, thank you so much. And Manny and Renee and Jim, we'll see you
Thank you, Jim. Thank
in a few hours. Yeah.
Yep.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
See you in a
everybody.
month.
Take care.
Bye.
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 See you soon.